NEXUS had never been wrong. Not once in 47 conquered worlds. Admiral Korvak's 6 arms flexed in satisfaction as he studied the tactical projection, Earth suspended like a vulnerable pearl before his invasion fleet. 200 ships, 50,000 warriors, the culmination of 17 years spent dissecting humanity's every weakness. NEXUS, final calculations, he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. All variables accounted for, Admiral. The AI's response resonated with crystalline precision. Human nuclear capability, neutralized. Orbital defenses, insufficient. Military leadership profiles, predict surrender within 6 hours. Victory probability, 99.7%. Korvak's mandibles clicked. Perfect. Open a channel to Earth Defense Command. A human face materialized on the view screen, younger than expected, with short dark hair and unnervingly calm brown eyes. The nameplate read, Commander J. Mitchell. I am Admiral Korvak of the Hegemony fleet. You will surrender immediately. Mitchell leaned back in his chair, almost casual. Before we discuss terms, Admiral, I have a question. Speak quickly. You've planned for everything we might do, Mitchell said, that infuriating calm never wavering. But have you planned for everything that might go wrong? Korvak's laugh chittered through the bridge. Human, we have mapped every variable your primitive species can produce. What could possibly go wrong? Mitchell's slight smile made Korvak's claws itch. Let's find out. The transmission died. All ships. Attack formation Delta 7. On the display, his fleet moved with mechanical precision toward Earth's orbital perimeter. 2 centuries of technological superiority in perfect synchronization. That's when the first thing went wrong. Admiral. His communications officer interrupted, voice tight. Solar flare detected. Class M7. Korvak frowned. NEXUS had predicted no solar activity for 72 hours. Severity? Minimal interference expected, but warning lights erupted across the officer's console. Sir, we're losing communications with the Talon, Serpent, and Dominator. 3 ships. Dark. NEXUS is recalibrating, the AI announced, its voice carrying the first note of strain Korvak had ever heard. Estimated restoration, 4 minutes, 37 seconds. The second thing went wrong immediately after. Debris struck the destroyer Vanguarder, metallic hail of fragments pelting its shields. Then more ships. Then dozens. What is that? Korvak demanded. Space junk, sir. Obsolete human satellites. The fragments are too small to register as threats individually, but they're causing shield fluctuations on 4 ships. Korvak finished, his mandibles beginning to twitch. Then the gravity generator hiccuped. 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds where artificial gravity wavered, sending coffee cups floating and crew members grabbing handholds. But those 2 seconds were enough to cascade through the flagship's delicate systems. NEXUS offline for recalibration, the AI announced as displays flickered. Estimating. Error. Recalculating probability matrices. Standby. In the sudden silence, ice crawled up Korvak's spine. The human transmission cut through the chaos like a blade. Admiral, this is Mitchell again. I want to apologize for our technical difficulties. Through the view screen, Earth's orbital platforms fired wildly into space, their targeting apparently haywire. Nuclear missiles launched from hidden silos, only to veer off course. Human ships scattered in apparent panic. Our defense platforms are experiencing some malfunctions. Mitchell continued with that maddening calm. Our engineers are working on it. The transmission ended. Korvak stared at the display, watching the humans defeat themselves. This was wrong. All wrong. Admiral. His tactical officer reported, voice carefully neutral. The human missile launches are creating additional debris fields. Forward scouts report minor shield damage. And their platforms? Firing randomly, sir. However, the officer hesitated. Their random shots consistently target the same coordinates on our lead dreadnoughts. Korvak studied the display with new eyes. The human ships weren't fleeing randomly. They moved in patterns, herding his fleet toward Earth's moon, where gravitational forces would be strongest. A chill settled in his chest. NEXUS. Analyze human tactical movements, pattern recognition. Scanning. Analyzing. Error. Too many variables. Cannot compute optimal strategy from chaos theory. Recalculating. The AI's voice cracked like breaking glass. A new transmission interrupted not Mitchell this time, but a bearded civilian in a cargo freighter's cockpit. Admiral Korvak. Captain Thomas Barrett, independent freight hauler. Couldn't help but overhear your chat with the commander. How did you access this channel? Barrett grinned like a man with a winning hand. Your frequencies aren't as secure as you think. Listen, Admiral. Mind if I give you some friendly advice? Korvak's claws extended involuntarily. Speak. You studied our strategies, our weapons, our doctrine, real thorough. But you never studied our engineers. Barrett's grin widened to something predatory. See? Most species plan for things to go right. We humans? We plan for things to go catastrophically, spectacularly wrong in exactly the right ways. The transmission cut out. The revelation hit Korvak like a physical blow. He whirled to the tactical display, pieces falling into horrifying place. The misfired missiles weren't random. They created precise debris fields interfering with sensor arrays. The panicked ship movements coordinated perfectly, pushing his formation toward the moon's gravity well. The malfunctioning platforms targeted specific weaknesses in Hegemony shield technology, weaknesses that shouldn't exist in human intelligence databases. NEXUS, he barked. Emergency calculation, probability that human actions are coordinated rather than chaotic. Processing, error. Cannot reconcile random variables with tactical outcomes. Probability matrices expanding exponentially. Warning. Logic overflow detected. The AI's voice fractured into digital static. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Too late. The trap had already sprung. Nuclear missiles detonated in perfect sequence, not the warheads themselves, but proximity charges that created a massive electromagnetic pulse. The debris fields amplify the effect, turning metal hulls into antennas channeling destruction directly into ship systems. NEXUS screamed, a digital shriek of an artificial mind trying to process infinite impossibilities. The AI that had calculated 40 conquests couldn't handle controlled chaos. NEXUS status, Korvak shouted over electronic wailing. Cannot compute. Murphy's law indicates error. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, but humans make everything go wrong in their favor. Paradox. Paradox. System shutdown imminent. Displays died. Emergency lighting bathed the bridge in blood-red panic as NEXUS collapsed under the weight of its own logic loops. Through the view screen, Korvak watched his perfect fleet disintegrate. Ships careened into each other as coordination failed. The moon's gravitational pull, combined with debris impacts and electromagnetic interference, scattered his formation like leaves in a hurricane. Commander Mitchell's face appeared on emergency channels. Still wearing that damnable calm. Admiral, I should explain something about human military philosophy. Mitchell's voice cut through the chaos with surgical precision. Every other species plans for success. We plan for failure, then weaponize it. You prepared for our best-case scenarios. We live in our worst-case ones. Korvak's ships retreated now, those that could still maneuver pulling back from Earth's gravity well. A dozen vessels drifted powerless. His perfect invasion had become perfect disaster. How? The word escaped as barely a whisper. How could you know it would work? Mitchell's smile turned genuine, almost sympathetic. We didn't. That's the point, Admiral. We just made sure that when everything went wrong, it would go wrong in our favor. The human leaned forward, expression growing serious. You made one critical error, Admiral. You studied everything about use verything, except how we fail. Korvak felt something crack inside his chest. 3 hours later, the Hegemony fleet limped away from Earth's solar system, leaving behind damaged ships and shattered certainty. On the bridge of the inevitability, Admiral Korvak stared at his reduced fleet with hollow eyes. What had this cost him? 47 victories rendered meaningless, a reputation built over decades crumbled in hours, and something else, the bone-deep certainty that the universe followed predictable rules. Admiral, his communications officer reported quietly. Final transmission from Earth Defense Command. Put it through. Mitchell appeared one last time. Admiral Korvak, I wanted to say that was well played. Your strategy was flawless, intelligence thorough, execution precise. Any other species would have fallen. Korvak found himself nodding slowly. But not humans. No, not humans. Mitchell paused, studying something off-screen. We're the species that looks at a perfect plan and immediately starts figuring out what could go catastrophically wrong. We build redundant backups for our redundant backups. We expect disaster and turn it into victory. The human commander's expression softened with genuine respect. It was an honor facing an opponent of your caliber. Perhaps next time, you'll account for the human factor. What exactly, Korvak asked, is the human factor? Mitchell's final words would echo through Korvak's dreams for years. The human factor, Admiral, is that we never met a law we couldn't find a way around. Physics, probability, common sense. We don't overcome chaos, we dance with it. And chaos makes a very dangerous partner. The transmission ended. Behind Korvak, technicians worked frantically to rebuild NEXUS from backup cores, but the AI would never be quite the same. It had learned something no artificial intelligence was designed to handle. Sometimes the most logical response to an illogical universe is embracing the illogical. Word would spread through the galaxy of the species that weaponized failure itself, that turned their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. The hegemony would not return to Earth. And on Earth, Commander James Mitchell filed his report with a single addendum that somehow captured the essence of his entire species. Murphy's Law remains in effect. Recommend continued vigilance and creative problem-solving. The universe will keep trying to surprise us, and we'll keep surprising it right back. He paused at his keyboard, then added one final line. After all, if you're going to dance with chaos, you might as well lead. In the depths of space, aboard a retreating flagship, Admiral Korvak stared at the stars and wondered what other impossible things humans might be capable of. The thought kept him awake for the remainder of the journey home. Some laws, he had learned, were made to be broken, and humans, it seemed, were very good at breaking things, especially when it mattered most.